Hey, Mr. Chair, thank you all for being here today, and I was able to hear each one of your presentations. I know it's a long and kind of gut-wrenching day to be here, but so thank you very much for that. Mr. Biggs and Mr. Issa and myself were just in the San Diego sector Thursday, and I had been there before, and one of the facilities that they want members of Congress to be able to see is where the Ninth Circuit keeps all of the evidence from the cases that are pending before that court. And they call it the vault, and it's just mind-boggling when you're in there because there is so much fentanyl that is being smuggled across the border, and specifically in the San Diego sector, 60% they're estimating, not my numbers, this is what DOJ is saying, 60% of all the fentanyl is coming through that San Diego sector. So I wanted to kind of focus on that and kind of respond to some stuff that was said earlier about there's no real legislation kind of that brings us here today. But Ms. Fundner, your son Weston, and unfortunately, you know, I know it's difficult for law enforcement to kind of track down. I just wanted to ask you, was there any success in finding out where your son ended up getting the fentanyl that ultimately took his life?
Yeah, they know where he got it, and they know who gave it to him, and it's on camera, and it's on text, and the case was dismissed.
So in the other cases in my state in Wisconsin where there are parents that find themselves in the same situation that you do, that's been part of it. So the trafficking and how it makes its way across the states. So let me just kind of bring that back together again, because 66% of those deaths involving synthetic opioids, the fentanyl stuff, is not permanently designated as a Schedule I narcotic. And this is something that is just still unbelievable to me, that we passed in the House last year a bill that would permanently designate that. I think this could make all the difference in the world.
Absolutely.
And unfortunately, it's become a partisan vote as well, which makes no sense. So if I could turn to the sheriff. Sheriff, can you just give me kind of an overview of how Schedule I is viewed? And do you think that would make a significant difference in the way law enforcement is able to handle fentanyl as it continues to pour across the border?
Well, the drugs listed under Schedule I obviously are the most egregious and dangerous to the human body without strict regulation from physicians and or those who would be able to oversee Schedule I type drugs, for one. When you talk about how, if I can touch into the fentanyl coming into our country, obviously China is working with the cartels, and that's how it's coming in, stamped in Mexico and then freely coming across this Biden-Harris open and unsecured border into our country. In my county alone, and up and down California, we had over 150,000 fentanyl pills in a traffic stop where 2 illegal immigrants were released under California law, where they were off into the wind and never to be seen again. And I tell that story because it's not uncommon to law enforcement all up and down California and across the country. And that's how this fentanyl, this dangerous fentanyl, is getting into the United States. But having said that, under a Schedule I think it would give far more federal regulation and or a sting in the bite into prosecution and those being held accountable for jail time. I think it would send a very strong message to hold people accountable for the dangerous, deadly fentanyl that is impacting American citizens.
Thank you very much. And Chairman, I mean, I would just like to reiterate again, what we're hearing at the border, when we talk to the Border Patrol, oftentimes they're saying that it's the trafficking, it's the smuggling of the narcotics across the border that absolutely is linked to every other aspect of those that are coming across illegally. So if this is certainly the basis of a lot of the organized crime that's actually being utilized right now to make all this happen. So I think we bring the bill back, we focus on this, we pass it through committee and get it back on the floor of the House, and I yield back.